Hello everybody and welcome back to the ISP IELTS YouTube channel. Now, loads of my students have told me in the past that the biggest problem they have when it comes to writing task 2 essay answers is idea generation, right? Coming up with ideas, okay? What should I write in this essay? They see the question, okay, its advantages and disadvantages, but then they stop. They think, oh no, how do I come up with good ideas to put into this essay? So in this video, we're going to look at how to generate great, interesting, solid ideas and examples that you can include in an advantages and disadvantages IELTS task 2 writing. Okay, guys?
Okay, everybody. So we're going to look at how to generate some great ideas for essays in the task 2 writing section. Okay, so let's say we have this question here. Okay, let's have a look. Governments should spend money on railways rather than roads. Okay, governments should spend money on railways rather than roads. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Okay, so you're going to think agree or disagree. Okay, but yes, you have to give your opinion, but first of all, you have to talk about both elements, both sides of the discussion. Now, what are the two sides? The two sides of the discussion simply are railways and roads. So we want to say, okay, the way you want to think is, why should governments spend money on railways? Why is spending, taxpayers' money on railways and trains a good thing? And why is it a bad thing? And why is spending taxpayers' money on roads? Okay, when we talk about roads, we're talking about cars. Okay, so why is spending money on roads a good thing, and why is it a bad thing? And my approach, this would be my approach most of the time when you have an essay like this, whether it's advantage or disadvantage, agree or disagree. When you have to talk about both sides, you want to think to yourself, you want to brainstorm the good and the bad for both. Okay, so let's go railways. We'll start with railways because it's just the first one in the question. Okay, so let's go railways, and we want to start with the good. Okay, good points. Why is it good? Why is it a good idea to spend money on railways? Okay, so what do you think? I want to try and think. I want to try and think of two things for good and two things for bad for each of the elements in the question, that is railways and roads. That way, you have a lot to play with. You have a lot of ideas, you have a lot of examples, you have a lot of, things to put into your essay. You don't have to use them all. You have choice in that, when you have enough options like this. So railways are good because, why? Okay, let me think. What do we hear in the news all of the time about roads and cars and pollution and, global warming? Okay, so railways are good because they are, let's say, good for the environment compared to lots of roads. Don't use as much petrol or fuel as many cars do. Okay, why else are railways a good thing? Because they can quickly connect different areas of the country. So we could say, now these days there are high-speed trains. In Korea, we have the KTX. There's the TGV in France. So we're talking in the future of travel is fast. We're talking high-speed trains. We can quickly connect different areas of the country. Okay, bad. Why are trains bad? Okay, why shouldn't the government spend our taxpayers' money on more trains? Not everyone can access trains and stations. So, you're talking about an old lady who lives in the countryside, miles away from any train line, train station. This wouldn't benefit her. Okay, more trains, more railways would not benefit somebody like that. So, yes, they might benefit a lot of people, but not everybody. Okay, whereas a road, there's probably one outside her house, your house. And what else can we say? Well, on the other hand, and this is where you're brainstorming here. Perhaps you're not choosing your final choices of what you're going to actually say yet. You're just coming up with ideas. Remember, this is generating ideas. Railways are noisy and bad for the environment. Yes, I know I said that they're good for the environment, but you can also argue that they're bad for the environment. Take the high-speed train in the UK, HS2, I think it is, that they're developing at the moment. There's been a lot of arguments that it cuts down forest, it goes through areas where endangered wildlife live, it's destroying the natural scenery. That kind of thing. So, as much as I've said railways are bad for the environment, I've also said that they're good for the environment. You can argue both ways, and that's the amazing thing. And that's really what the examiner is kind of asking you to think. They want to know, okay, so a lot of like Western academia, the concepts behind it are debate, discussion and debate. Okay, like you have to talk about both sides. You have to consider both sides of an argument. And that's what they're trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to balance your thinking, right? On the one hand, it's bad. On the other hand, it's good. It's not black and white, guys. In some situations, it's good. In some situations, it's bad. Somebody may say that it's fantastic. Another person may say it's terrible. You put your ideas, and then it's, later on when you get to university or whatever, it's your job to argue your position. So we can say both ways, but you're going to decide which ones you want to use in your essay in a minute. Okay, as I said, guys, we're just brainstorming here. We don't need to use all of these ideas. Okay, and then we said roads. The next one is roads. So why are roads good? Why they were, I'm going to say they're cheaper and easier to build than railways. I don't know that for a fact. I expect that they are easier to build than railways. We already have a big road network, and they're sort of the way that they're constructed seems to be cheaper than probably railways are. So I'm going to put that. Why else are they good? There's going to be more demand for cars in the future. So we will need, more roads. Essentially, they're more democratic. As I said before, there are roads in every town, there's roads in every city, there's roads in every village. Most people have a car. The government should spend taxpayers' money on things that most people can use. I mean, you can argue with me, whatever. I don't mind too much. I always say in this kind of essay, it's not sort of so much what you say, it's how you say it. You know, yeah, make good arguments, but I mean, you don't have to be right. And often there is no right or wrong. So what you say is just a point. Point is, can you make the point well? Can you back it up with an example or a further point that sounds convincing? Bad, roads are bad. Okay, what did we say? Bad for the environment. My spelling's terrible. Environment. More roads equals more cars equals more pollution, at least at the moment. Before we have, I can't spell today, type. Before, you know, these electric cars, the UK government has promised to stop the sale of new diesel and petrol cars by 2030. Whether that will happen, we don't know. But until then, more cars equals more pollution equals more. The air is worse. Problems, breathing problems, health problems. You can go on and on and on. Another one I'm going to say is congestion. Okay. The UK, at least I'm thinking in terms of where I live, where I'm from, which is the UK, and where I live, which is in Korea, both of these countries have a problem with space. There isn't much space. There are a lot of cars. Most people have 2 cars, most families at least, and they're small countries. The area, the land area is small, and the congestion. So the more and more roads we build, the more cars and the more traffic jams and congestion there'll be. So again, more roads equals worse traffic, and more jams on the roads, and delays, going to work, you know, commuting and all of these things. Okay, so that's my brainstorm. I probably took, how long have I taken to do that? Maybe 5 minutes or so. It would have taken much less time if I hadn't just gone off on a random tangent about stuff. But that's what I usually do anyway. So that's the way to approach it. That's how you generate ideas. Often in these IELTS essays, there are 2 things to talk about, 2 sides. In this case, it's railways and roads. And if it asks you, do you disagree or agree, or does it ask you if it's good or bad, or you know, what are the pluses, the minuses, the good points, the bad points? Really, essentially, what it's saying is what is good and what is bad about this, and what is good and what is bad about this other thing. And you need to kind of put those in your paragraphs. Not all of them. Okay, you can choose. You can pick and choose which ones you're going to use. You're going to pick and choose the ones that sort of work best together. You're going to pick and choose depending on how you decide to structure your answer in the end. But you need these basic ideas first before you start writing. Okay, and obviously you can do it like this by writing it down the way that I do it. I like to do it this way. Some people do like a box or a table, and they divide the table up into good and bad. You can do it that way. You can do it after quite a lot of practice, just in your head, without writing it down. But I suggest, for practicing, it's a good idea to make a list like this. Okay. To write out the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages, okay? And that'll help you write a better, fuller, more structured and complete answer. Okay, guys, great. I hope that has been useful. Okay, perhaps the next video I'll look at actually how to write the full essay from this. Okay, so keep watching, and I hope to see you in a few well, a few minutes in the next video. All right, cheers, bye.